I hate to admit it, Saturn, but you were right all along. I should have listened. On October 29th, the Sun arrives in its exact square with Saturn. This aspect, just like pretty much every aspect I'm going to be ever talking to you about, is building. So we will be feeling this aspect build any number of days up before, maybe 3 days, maybe 4 days, maybe 2, depending on how sensitive you are. You may be feeling this aspect building. So what I'm about to describe for October 29th, we may have already been feeling this in the days leading up to it. And that will be true for pretty much every aspect. So anyways, the Sun arriving into an exact square with Saturn. As I mentioned, if you watched my previous video about Venus, then you'll know that this is the temperance aspect. This is going to just kind of put a nice little bow on a few days of treating ourselves, on indulgence, on chasing magic and sitting on rainbow clouds, like I was explaining. This is going to be like, all right, back to reality. And it's really important. There's something really important about coming back to reality with this aspect, because the Sun isn't just activating Saturn. We know that Saturn is in this ongoing year-defining aspect with Uranus. So the Saturn-Uranus square, which is shattering glass ceilings, which is all about sovereignty and revolution and integrating that into the infrastructure of everyday life for human beings. The system needs updates, and that's what this aspect is about. And I think we're going to see a lot more get squeezed out of this aspect here throughout Scorpio season, because the Sun is going to be the first this season to really activate that Saturn-Uranus square. Now, this is where it gets juicy, because the Sun is activating the square now as we're in this dark moon phase where we're just like waning, we're going inward. But the Sun is going to arrive in that exact opposition with Uranus just in time for the new moon. And it's going to be exact. So the moon and the Sun, the luminaries, all about visibility and bringing these planets into being, is going to start a new cycle in this opposition with Uranus. I really think this is going to be potent. I've seen lunations involve Uranus before, and yeah, the energy certainly picks up, and there's something about, I want to say fragility, which is like a word that is being used a lot in today's culture, but also like things just get shaky and rattly and more explosive around when Uranus gets like wrapped into the lunation. But I really think with all the movements happening right now with workers and people going on strike and unionizing, there's something about shattering the infrastructure. There's something about the Molotov cocktail being thrown at the demonstration. There's something very Uranian about this. There's a breakthrough, there's a breakdown. There's a break up, people walking away. There's something about just like the unexpected happening here that gets wrapped into that lunation. We'll talk more about that, but we're going to start to feel that build even as the Sun perfects this square with Saturn here on the 29th. But right now we're going to start to see Saturn first. So what Saturn is the cold, hard reality, the stuff we don't want to see. And the Sun is bringing that to light. So there's something that maybe isn't fair, or something isn't just, or there's something that is affecting us on a societal level where we just hate to see it. There's something really unpleasant but necessary that we see. Saturn is like, I know this is inconvenient to admit, but here it all is. Saturn isn't going to hide anything. There's a crystal clarity that comes with this, but it's effort to look at it. It's effort to address it. It's effort to make the changes. And effort is what's needed, because, the new moon is going to be in Scorpio, opposing that Uranus and Taurus. And I feel like Saturn wants us to be accountable. Saturn is like, if this is the result you want, you have to show up for it. You have to do something about it. And the Sun is just illuminating it for us all to see. So yeah, and also other ways that we might be able to experience the Sun square to Saturn is just like feeling just like down or bummed out, or maybe feeling like pressure of some kind, feeling like, oh my God, I have this duty, this obligation, this responsibility. It just feels so heavy, or it just feels so task oriented. And there's nothing like it just feels like work, It just sometimes just feels like work, or doing the thing that you have to do with the sun square to Saturn. But it can be really good for construction. I think about construction when it comes to Saturn, and it's such a good word. It's another one of those ST words that really applies to Saturn, but I think about how everything has to be to code when it comes to construction. And so when we have this, it's an opportunity to rebuild. And that's something that I want to keep in mind and emphasize when I'm talking about things that are hard or things that are stressful, because it's those things that really push us to our greatness. And helps us to confront and grow and mature and learn from experiences that are more challenging. So you never have to do Saturn, but you should do Saturn, because it's only going to support you in the best way ever down the line. So that's a little bit about the sun square to Saturn. And yeah, I hope it's awesome. I hope it's productive. I hope it's constructive. And I hope it is, above all, clarifying for you in terms of personal accountability and what we're co-creating. Because, it's an Aquarius. It's a sign that we're all working on together. And I hope it's really juicy for you. And that was your astrology shot of the day. Thank you so much for joining me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine, or visit me at my website where you can book your next reading. And I look forward to discussing your chart with you in more detail.